Hey team, I wanted to make you a quick video on time management. I know I'm supposed to be on the call tonight, but because I am managing my time, I'm not going to be able to make it on live with you. I understand the value of being on calls live. I try to get on every single live call, but this week I'm actually off work, and so I am making sure that my family knows that they are my priority. By family, I mean my husband. So I'm going to spend the night with him, but I still wanted to make sure that I was able to offer you guys some great advice as far as time management goes. So to be honest, when I realized I was talking about this topic, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a hot mess. Like, my schedule is so sporadic. How am I going to talk about time management? But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I actually have a system in place that works for me and I know can be kind of tailored to anyone's schedule if they really are looking for ways to manage their time more effectively. So I just want to go through first a day in my life and what that kind of looks like. So I know a lot of you have kids and you're probably like, this chick doesn't even know. But to be honest, I have an insanely busy schedule. Every day I work somewhere different. I work at three places, 3 locations, and I'm always at a different one, alternating days. So knowing where I have to be, what time is super crucial. I have everything written down in this planner, which I'm going to go through with you. I teach dance full time. I teach dance 5 days a week. I teach Size Live 2 days a week. And I'm not home any evening of the week, so I don't get to see my husband very much. So this is how I make everything work for me. First and foremost, I schedule my next day every single night. So I sit down at night, and my husband kind of knows this is part of the process for me to make sure that the next day goes effectively, and then I can kind of fill him in on what the day looks like for me, and he knows where I am and what's going on. So every night I sit down and I make a schedule for the following day, since every single day looks different for me. But 3 things that I put at the top of my planner every single day, which you can see here, are my 3 vital behaviors: my personal development, my workout, and my power of 3, which is actually my invites. And I will talk about the power of 3 in 1 second. So those are my 3 things that I must do that day in order to move my business forward. Obviously, my workout is typically the very first thing I do. I wake up and I do that. My personal development happens in the car when I'm driving from one location to another. And my power of 3 happens sporadically throughout the day, depending on what day of the week it is. So I'm just going to use yesterday as an example of how I managed my time yesterday. So Sunday night, I sat down and I wrote out my schedule for the day. On Monday mornings, I teach Size Live at 8 a.m., and then I do my workout right after at the gym at 9, and then I actually go to Starbucks, and I sit down, and I eat my breakfast, and I do work, because then I'm not distracted by home stuff, and I know I'm only there for an allotted amount of time, and I get work done. So yesterday, this is what my day looked like. Size at 8, I worked out at 9, my power hour happened at 10, I did a blog at 11, I worked on some 90-day push goals at 12. I wrote down that I had to take a shower or else I won't do it. And then typically after the shower at 1:30, I would leave to go teach dance from 4 to 9. And then on Monday nights, I would get in the car at 9 p.m. and I would head home and I would listen to the Knockout Brigade calls on the way home. So that's how I would manage a typical Monday in the life of me. So as far as my power of 3, my invites and all of that, those vital behaviors go. This is what works for me. So every morning what I do, the power of 3 is that you add 3 people to your network. So you add 3 new Facebook friends every single day. You connect with 3 new people by just sending them a hello, how are you message, and you invite 3 people to either a challenge group or the business every single day. So what I do is I wake up and I immediately add those 3 people to my network. So I roll over, grab my phone, find 3 new friends. It takes me 30 seconds, add them, and go about my day. I get up, I do whatever I need to do. If I don't have time to sit down for a power hour, which normally every single day I try to schedule in the things that I do within a power hour, which I actually posted those in the Knockout Brigade yesterday. All of those activities that are within a power hour, even if I don't have a 1-hour block that I can sit down and get them done, I get them all done in smaller increments. So if it's a crazy busy day, I might take 15 minutes to do invites. I might take 15 minutes to check in with current challengers. I might take 15 minutes to do follow-ups, and then I might take 15 minutes to I can't even think of the other thing I do. Find new friends and connect with them on their wall. So that's kind of how I would break that up. I would just look at my day and be like, where do I have little 15-minute increments? So Tuesdays are typically extremely busy days for me. I teach dance from 10:30 in the morning until 9:15 at night. So I wake up super early. I add my 3 people to my network, and then I take 15 minutes and I do invites and follow-ups. So I have a half hour in the morning. That's all I do, invites and follow-ups. Tuesdays at lunch, I will then check in with my challengers. I'll take like 10, 15 minutes and do that. And that's pretty much all I get done on Tuesdays because like time-wise, that's all I can do. Wednesdays are a little bit different. I teach size and then I have the afternoons off and then I take a financial class at night. So I just figure it out, whatever your schedule looks like for that day. Find the time to make it work for you. On my busier days, my power hours, like I said, are broken up into 15-minute increments. But then on Thursday nights with my team, every single Thursday night, instead of doing a team call, I have them plug into the Knockout Brigade calls on Monday nights. And then on Thursday nights, we do a team power hour where we sit down and together I post what they should be doing at every 10-minute increment to keep them going and on track and whatnot. And then they learn how to do a power hour themselves. They learn how they can break it up and make it fit into their schedule themselves. And it's been really beneficial in them growing their businesses and working on their invites and whatnot. Throughout that power hour, I'll post my own invite scripts, what I'm doing, what I'm saying to people, so that they kind of can get a feel for that. They can copy paste, they can kind of make it into their own words, and it really has helped them with their own self-confidence when sending out those invites too, I have noticed. And then they help keep each other accountable to it too, which has been really fun. And if someone says something silly or crazy to you, you can just like kind of copy paste it in there and be like, look what this person just said to me. And it takes the pressure off of those crazy, weird no's that you get sometimes, which has been fun. The other thing I do on the night before whenever I sit down to make my schedule is I also sit down and make my list of people that I'm going to connect with or invite or contact throughout the day, so that whenever I do sit down and I have those 15-minute increments or I do have power hour time allotted, I'm not trying to figure all of that on the go. So I do that the night before. And what I'll do is I just make little lists. So these were the people that I was inviting yesterday. Once I invite them, I put an X beside it. Once they answer me, I highlight it. So then I know if they're highlighted, they need to go into a follow-up list because we've started chatting. And I keep my follow-up list, let me flip my computer around, actually on this whiteboard. I don't know if you can see it. There's a list of names there. I usually have a 10 in play, so I have 10 follow-ups going on at any given amount of time. Obviously, sometimes there's more than that, but if I don't have 10 people at least that I'm conversing with, I know I need to bump up my invites because that's not going to help me reach my goals if I don't have at least 10 people that I'm talking to. The last thing I want to mention to you, actually, there's a couple more things. You know, sometimes this business gets a little bit tricky because we are attached to our devices, our computers, our phones, and sometimes our family doesn't necessarily understand that. And I've learned that the hard way. And I feel like I've watched other coaches go through it and never thought, you know, I would have to deal with it because my husband is so super supportive. But it is so imperative that whenever you're making these lists and your schedules of what you have going on, that the first thing that you schedule throughout your week is your family time. So when Dave knew that I had tonight off, he was like super excited for us to work out together and just have dinner. And then I had this call and I was like, I'm not going to suck the wind out of him. I'm off work. There's ways to make this work for both of us. So we really, as a family, just sit down and think about days of the week that we have that are busy, that, you know, what we have going on, and we really try to take some time and carve it out for just each other. I'm not going to lie to you and act like we're excellent at that. We really do struggle with that because he does see the value in my business and he knows that I work really hard. So he does let me slide a little bit more than maybe he should sometimes. But we always reach a breaking point where he takes my phone off of me or my devices off of me. And so in order for that not to happen, I really have to be diligent about making sure that scheduling time with him is my number one priority. So when I'm looking at my week ahead of time and I know evenings that I have available or, you know, weekend night, I always write him in there, and then that's a non-negotiable. That's not budging. I don't care what happens. That time with him is super important and making sure that he feels valuable. So please do not feel guilty if there's ever a time that you have to say no to something because if you're not happy, if your family's not happy, this isn't actually going to work for you in the long run. So make sure that you're really taking the time to make them a priority, schedule them in. If you haven't listened to Craig Holliday's time management call, I highly recommend you do that. I know it's in the Knockout Brigade. I can find it for you. I will add it with this video. And maybe I'll give it to Katie to add in the comment section. Listening to that call was a game changer. That's where I learned how to color code everything and how to schedule out my day. I believe he talks about scheduling out like your whole week at a time, but that doesn't work for me in my schedule, so I do it one day at a time. It's a little bit easier to focus. So just making sure that I have my priorities in check and that I can have both things. I can have a very healthy, balanced family life, and I can have a very successful, driven business as well at the same time. You can have both. It's okay. And a lot of times people give me a little bit of slack because they're like, well, you don't have kids yet, so you don't actually get it. But I truly believe that having these steps in place now and understanding these priorities is when Dave and I do have kids, it's going to be so much easier for us. And we're already going to understand the times that we need to juggle stuff around and when I'm working and when we're spending time as a family. So that's super important. Make sure you don't let that slip away, because I know it's so easy to get caught up in your phone, or it's, really easy to just get caught up in the newsfeed and feeling like you need to answer people right away. The other thing I have found is that if it's a Tuesday, for example, and I'm super busy and I send my invites out, I will include in that invite like, hey girl, I just wanted to invite you to this challenge group. I think you'd be such a great fit. Just a heads up, I work a crazy day on Tuesday. So if you answer me and I don't get back to you, I will answer you tomorrow. People are super appreciative of just knowing that you have a busy life too, and you're not just, trying to sell them a challenge pack whenever you send them this message, but that you actually took time out of your crazy busy day to connect with them and try to help them. So don't be afraid to just admit what you have going on and just talk about your schedule with people, because then it also starts to get their wheels turning. Okay, she's super busy and she's making this work, so clearly maybe I could be a coach too, is what I found has started to happen with people. And honestly, busy people make better coaches. I listened to if any of you were at the Diamond Breakfast, whenever the 3 Vital Behaviors training was in, there was an awesome coach who talked about her time management, and she's like the craziest busy person in the world, and she basically was like, plug your kids' ears really quick. Busy people get shit done, and that's just the truth. So the busier you are, the more likely you are going to be able to figure out your priorities and where they fall into your day. The last thing I want to talk about is just writing down weekly goals. I did not do this until, I would say, this summer. Katie kind of gave me a challenge to try to hit a weekly personal volume goal. And I just saw a big drive in my business, and I saw that that's when actually I bumped up from team builder to team leader, which took a few months of consistently thinking about volume and looking at that leadership ladder and seeing, where my weak parts were and what I needed to bump me up to the next rung. And when I really honed in on that, I realized my potential and, where I was slacking and where I was like wasting time instead of spending time. So what I do too is in my planner, this is called the Get to Work book also, by the way. So if you I know people like the Passion Planner. I like this one because it's all black and white and clean. I don't like stickers and stuff, but I do like to highlight. So on this left-hand side, there's these 3, they're called action items. And so here I have blog 2 times, but then I actually wrote out days of the week that I'm going to sit down and blog. And this week, since I'm off work, I'm going to blog Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and probably Sunday. Success Club ASAP. Normally this would say like SC, like sell 2 challenge packs or something like that. I have 4 points. So as I rack up points this week, I'm just going to put little tally marks there. And then my last action item is to sign 2 coaches this week. So once I complete these items, I get to check off these action box. And then whenever I take a look at my week in general to set my goals for the next week, I can see very clearly where my weak spots were, where I need to bump it up. And if I'm trying to average 2 coaches a week and I only sign 1, next week my goal is going to be 3. And I should have enough conversations going on in my follow-up list to be able to make that happen. So if I don't have 10 in play, I need to bump up those invites and carve out some more time to do some invites. The other thing I love about this planner is that, let me look, it has a bunch of different, like just graph paper, so you can take notes. So when I went to the 3 Vitals training, I took notes there. So everything I need is in this book. It has a whole month at a glance, calendars too. What else? And then if I have goals, so if I have stuff I'm working towards, so when I was talking about those push goals, I had a whole section where I just wrote down my push goals for the month, and I could just refer to those whenever I'm setting out my weekly goals and I'm writing down my weekly goals. I can go back to the beginning of the month and look at those push goals that I had written down and see, okay, if I'm pushing for this, if I really want to hit this, what does that break down into weekly as far as goals go? This might be getting off a little bit off topic as far as time management goes, but I think they all overlap with each other. If you're trying to achieve goals, you need to carve out the time to be able to hit those goals. So that's why I do all this. And like I said before, how I write down names. Say I put up a really great post that gets a ton of traction, but I don't have the time to sit down and invite all of those people. This is what happens. I just start writing their names down, write them down, and then I spread them out throughout the week. And as they get invited, I X them off. If they say no, I cross them off. Whatever, we just kind of go from there. I start having conversations. I can add my follow-ups to the bottom. These were all my follow-ups for last week. So if I'm out and about and I'm not sitting in front of my whiteboard, I can write my follow-ups here, and then I cross-reference with my whiteboard in my office to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Everyone's where they're supposed to be. I'm a pen and paper kind of person. I'm always on the go. I can't always whip my computer out and type into a spreadsheet. So this whole planner process works really well for me. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about as far as time management goes is posting. So I know that we all know we're supposed to post 3 to 5 times a day. For me, when my schedule is busy, I can't just pick up my phone and whip a post out of my butt and hope that people are going to read it or whatever. That puts too much stress on me. So what I do also is the night before. Actually, I'll show you my phone. I have notes from personal development. So if I'm listening to an audiobook, I will Siri, make a note and tell her what to say. Where are my notes? So I'll go through, here's my notes right now from, oh my, you can't really see. Sorry, you can't really see, it just looks white. So what happens is I just have this list of little snippets. So Mr. M, visioneering, word power, compliments are verbal currency, the small decisions are enormous, successful people do what no one else wants to when no one is watching, assume the mic is always on, everyone will hear everything you say. Just little snippets of stuff that sticks with me whenever I'm doing personal development, I make a note about. And then the night before, I will sit down or at some point the day before. It doesn't have to be the night before. So if I'm spending time with Dave, it's not during then, but maybe in my power hour, or I have a 15-minute increment where I block out post. I'll actually Hootsuite. I just make my post, Hootsuite, find some good pictures, post them, get them out there. So when I'm working throughout the day, my posts are still happening. 3 business posts. I always do a call to action post. So I always do an invite post that says, join this challenge group. Do you want to join this challenge group? Are you interested in the business opportunity? Always one post like that. That's usually in the evening. Always a workout post. And then usually some inspirational post that comes from my personal development. And then 2 other posts that are just about life. So maybe it's about teaching dance. Maybe it's a picture of my dog, but something that's just more so about me. Those 2 posts that are personal can happen whenever, at night, whenever I'm doing whatever. I don't Hootsuite those. Those just happen kind of in real time. But my Hootsuited posts on busy days come from my personal development, and I schedule them out in advance. So then I don't have to worry about it. And I just actually started doing that 3 weeks ago. I used to always have my posts pre-written out, and then I would have to actually post them. I just bit the bullet and paid for Hootsuite and had it do it for me. And I feel like a huge weight lifted off my chest because my work is getting done and I'm not working. And honestly, whenever I take the time to write down my schedule and when I'm actually working, I tend to find that I get my work done faster. So yesterday I sat down with this block of time I had from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. blocked out to do work. And I was done by 12:15 because I knew I had this block of time that I needed to bang this workout quickly and efficiently and get it done, and it got done even faster than the time that I had allotted myself for it. So I hope that's not information overload. I really wanted to make sure that I shared with you guys what a day in the life of me, or one day, because they're all so different, looks like, and just really drive in the fact that you can have amazing time management and have an amazing business and make sure that your family is your priority. I'm sorry I can't be live with you guys tonight, but I'll check into this group. So if you have any questions, just comment on this video or comment on the call. I'm not sure if Katie's going to play this like during the call or whatever. And I will answer you tomorrow whenever I am not hanging out with my husband and I'm at home. Whenever I have my time blocked out, I will respond. I'll block out some time. If you guys want to see like what my calendar looks like, anything, and I'll pull some good time management tools and tricks that I have used in the past or that I use now, some information that I've gotten. And that's all I have. I hope you guys have a great night. Have a great Thanksgiving and love you guys. Bye.